Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I am Beth Sarmiento, your new ACE RMO recruitment consultant, and I would like to welcome everyone for today's webinar hosted by Wellington Regional Hospital. So just a few reminders that we have three parts of this webinar. We have the first part as dedicated for employer presentation. Second part would be the RMO talking about their experiences, and the last part would be the question and answer. And since this is recorded, we encourage all attendees, should they would like to ask questions live, they can just use the raise hand function in the Zoom, or if they would like to put in text-based messages, they can just put in their questions in the Q&A function of the Zoom. So I'd like to turn over the floor to our panelists to do the self-introduction.
Go ahead. Sure. Okay, I'm Pauline Bennett-Tamati. I'm the RMO District Operations Manager. My role is to coordinate the recruitment, oversee the rostering across our district. Our district is Wellington, Hutt Valley and Wairarapa.
So kia ora, my name's Marianne Falconer. I am a general physician from the Hutt Hospital, and I'm one of 4 educational supervisors that work out of the Hutt as well.
Kia ora koutou, I'm Alice Stringer. I'm an ear, nose and throat surgeon, and I'm one of the 8 educational supervisors we have at Wellington Hospital. I work across Wellington Regional Hospital to Whanganui, which is our new children's hospital, Kiniperu Hospital out in Porirua. I work at the Hutt Hospital, and I also go 6 times a year out to Wairarapa. So I am everywhere, but yeah, mostly doing ENT and educational supervising.
Kia ora, I'm Aidan Wilson. I'm one of the PGY2 house officers currently at Hutt Hospital, but I've spent time in Wellington, Kiniperu and the Wairarapa. And for some context, I was at the Wellington School of Medicine before starting as a house officer here.
Kia ora, I'm Taylor. I'm one of the second year house officers as well. I'm working at the Hutt with Aidan at the moment and have mainly spent my house officer years between Hutt and Kiniperu. Yeah, nice to see you all.
Thank you, Dara. We also have Chris Mowat joining us. Chris is clinical advisor to the RMO unit. She's also a general breast surgeon. Hopefully she'll be able to come online soon. What we thought we might do is start off with our
showing off about how awesome Wellington is. So go for it. Make you want to come here.
I thought we'd start our presentation here, but quickly today, we'd like to talk to you about what our own recruitment process looks like here. What we're looking for in your application. So let's get it underway. And at the end, of course, we'll be answering your questions. Luke, can you start us off? All right, today's agenda here. So you've got 3 of us here on site, as we explained earlier, introducing ourselves. We've got a few slides. We'll talk about what we love about Wellington and certainly why you should come and work in our region. We're going to be talking about the makeup of the RMO unit and what we actually do here. We're going to have Aidan and Taylor talk about what you might expect as a PGY1. We talk about the run options, the application process, the criteria for selection, and just a summary overall. All right, so as I said earlier, I'm Pauline Bennett-Tamati. I'm looking after the team here in Wellington. We have staff at Hutt Valley as well, an RMO unit out there. We also have RMO unit staff in Waitarapa, but they're managed in-house over there. Currently, we have Taylor and Aidan joining us, and we're so lucky to have them involved this year. Thank you, Marion, and thank you, Alice, for walking alongside us this year. And of course, Christine Mowat has been part of the RMO unit for many years. All right, let's show off about Wellington, shall we? First comes to mind for me, and please Sharon, is Te Papa and the unique museum it is. It's interactive, it's bicultural, it has a modern feel to it. It's like no other, I think, in New Zealand, I'm sure. The exhibitions there are certainly world class. The one that comes to mind is the Gallipoli, and it's focused on the war. So a collaboration between Te Papa and Weta Workshops created that exhibition, but that is a major exhibition and absolutely well worth visiting once you get here.
Yep. I moved to Wellington when I was about 6 years old and trained in and out of around Aotearoa and also Australia. And Wellington, I mean, the job itself, you can go pretty much anywhere around the whole region, which is amazing. It gives you just the opportunity to see how beautiful Wellington is. The drive to the hut in the morning, past the harbour, which is sometimes just flat like glass. It's so beautiful. And the sunrise and the sunset over the harbour, and just being able to be sort of so close to work, but far enough away that you can leave it behind. I live 8 minutes from work any time of the day, and I can see the ocean and I can have an amazing sunset. And, you know, whenever I go away from Wellington, just coming back and flying into the harbour is just, it's so special. And, you know, we're from Taranaki originally, and so coming back from that long drive down the island, when you drive down Noronga Gorge into and see the harbour, it's like being home, and it's just so special, and we'd like to share that with you, and I'm sure you have a different experience. You didn't move here when you were 6.
No, as it may be obvious from my very Kiwi accent, I have been in Wellington now for the last 8 years, and I actually spent the first few years here in New Zealand, in Auckland. And what I love about Wellington is, as Alice said, first of all, its size. So it's really easy to get almost anywhere. There is nothing compared to Auckland with regards to traffic, which also, and it actually has a public transport system, the things that make life an awful lot easier. I also love just the hub of the city. It's a really vibrant place at the minute. There's a thing called Wellington on a Plate On, which is where lots of different restaurants and cafes have lots of food and different different menus on show. And
we've
then
got the comedy
around
festival as well.
yeah, we've got the comedy festival going at the minute, and then in August there is the most amazing thing, which is called Burger Wellington, which is where literally, you may see I'm obsessed by food. Burger Wellington is where you can actually go around and get a different burger every single day. Everyone does it. It's a competition that runs for 3 weeks, and it is really good.
Burgers, yeah.
So on, as well as that, I do love the work as well, and it's a very the hut in particular. The reason I chose to work in the hut was for the reputation of it being such a collegial hospital, and very, very close knit community, despite being a reasonable size. So very enjoyable. I don't know if Taylor and Aidan have.
Yeah, I probably have like a few things to add. My family are from here, and like I came here for my family and for work opportunities, but even if I wasn't from here, I think a real draw is how good the sports is here. So like I have played competitive netball for ages, and it's awesome in Wellington, and the basketball league and the rugby's awesome here as well. And there's always so many places where you can go and watch live music, which is another awesome thing about Wellington. I don't know, Aidan, how about you?
A lot of things have already been mentioned already, but I've lived in most of the cities in the Wellington region, and I grew up in Upper Hutt. I've lived in Wellington and currently living in the Kapiti Coast. I mean, the thing I would say is that the reason I love living here is I have the privilege of being able to sort of live in a sort of small beach town, but then be easy to get into the big city in Wellington and work in a tertiary setting, but then come home and enjoy my weekends in a much more laid back, good vibes kind of town. That's pretty much all I'll have to add to that.
I think I should also mention, as far as getting around Wellington, recently we've had cycle lanes put in. So they run from the city to the beach, Lyle Bay, from what I know. So that's a big change for all of you who thinking about cycling into work. Well, you have your lane of your own. And as I say, it is definitely from the city all the way out to the Lyle Bay area, which is on the coast.
I'm a very nervous cyclist, but I'd say it's much safer now, and they've done a good job. So hopefully on your screen now you can see Hutt Valley and some things about Hutt Valley and Whanganui-a-Tara. As I say, I go up to Whanganui-a-Tara a few times a year, and you go up to Whanganui-a-Tara too, and Aidan's worked up there, and you'll get the opportunity in your first couple of years to work up there too. It's beautiful. When I go up there for work, I generally take the whole whānau and stay the weekend with our dog and have a great time sort of pottering around all the walks and places in Whanganui-a-Tara. And the people up there are so nice, and it's just so close. Aidan, can you share some stories about Whanganui-a-Tara, I'm sure.
I mean, yeah, Wairarapa is a very beautiful place. I mean, my wife and I had a honeymoon there, so it must be a pretty good place. It's got a lot of wineries, which are things that we really love. There's Poppy's Winery that we always go to every time we visit. But all the towns along the Wairarapa, Featherston, Greytown, Carterton, they all have their own little charm about them. And part of the Wairarapa attachment, I lived in Masterton for 3 months. And no, it's a nice town. It has everything you would need. But again, if you can visit there, and you're only about an hour away from Wellington, when you can come back to the city as well. So it's the Wellington region is a very big place with a very diverse geography, but it's all pretty close together, which is great.
Thanks. The reasons why to work in Wellington. I've done this a couple of times, and it's still true. you can come, and it's pretty much the only sort of group of hospitals that, where you just apply for one job, and in your first 2 years, you get the opportunity to work across 5 different hospitals that are all completely different and all excellent for different reasons. Both Wellington and Hutt have tertiary services, so neurosurgery, cardiology, things in ENT and things in Hutt, but also in Wellington, and then in Hutt they've got the plastic surgery and the rheumatology, and a great stroke service and stuff out there. And then in Kiripuru, it's more of a community hospital. So you can really sort of get your teeth into some community work, and it's a sort of slightly lesser pace. And then Waitarapa is a rural hospital, so you can get a lot of experience there with good support. And then we've got a new hospital, our paediatric hospital's just opened up recently, and so we've got focused paediatric services in one great new hospital as well. So yeah, I mean, just the opportunity to be able to go and move around just in your first couple of years and experience everything. So you're not having to choose between going to somewhere rural and getting the great experience, hands-on experience, and somewhere tertiary where you get all the really great education and support. You can have it all if you come here.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree, and as you said, it's kind of that luxury of having lots of things all available very close by, so you can do one quarter in a rural and 1 quarter in a tertiary hospital. But you've also got the association. We've got lots of the association with the medical school and campus, so you've got medical students coming in. You've got the library and research there. And you've got some amazing educational supervisors who make sure that you get very well trained through your time there.
Yes, we do our best.
I have to say they do. They really do look after you. I've noticed a difference working with them and working alongside everybody who isn't a peers or pre-vocational supervisor. So there is a difference, and they definitely will look after you. Yep, thanks. All right, let me tell you a bit about the unit, the RMO unit. So we manage the recruitment of over 600 RMOs across the region annually. It's a huge job, and it involves a huge team right across these services. We have a plan which starts in February, and it doesn't finish until January, which is the time you'll start. We manage the ACE recruitment program here in Wellington for the 3 district hospitals. The the orientation program is held at each hospital. And slightly different due to the size of those hospitals. We have a robust orientation program. We also have roster coordinators at each of the hospitals. Here in town, we have 4 roster coordinators here in the unit. We also have roster coordinators out in the services. The services we look after or roster for main surgery, all of medicine, house officers, which of course you'll be part of. That is a huge group, a huge rostering task for one person here. We also manage all your leave, and we manage relief cover for when you're away.
In your first, so usually Chris Mowat gives the spiel, so mine's not so practiced, but here we go. So in your first year as a PGY1 house surgeon, and Aidan and Taylor chip in if I'm incorrect, you'll be given the option of 4, so that's in modules. You'll get 4 runs next year, and we try, and you select the set of 4. You don't select each individual run, you select a set of 4 runs. and there'll definitely be a surgical run, and there'll be a medical run, and then there'll be something else. And so a couple of other things. So that's when you get to have a little bit of choice about what you might like to do. So you might choose ENT because it's the most awesome, and then change and add in other things as well. So yeah, you might sacrifice having to do one thing over another if you really wanted to do one thing, and you rank them 1 to whatever 38 or something modules, but you'd be selecting the block of 4 different attachments as a module. Is that correct, Aidan and Taylor?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. There is always some wiggle room. So if something changes and you can't do a run for whatever reason, and there's lots of reasons why you might be able to change, you can do swaps, and we can take everything on an individual basis. But in general, there are four runs you choose as a block module. Go.
Can I just chip in about the modules? Beth, in our document that we provided you, at the end of it are a list of all those modules. So the sets of 4, I'm fairly sure it's in there.
Yeah, when you get your job offer to come and work with us, then you'll get it then as well, and that's when we want to know what you want to do. So we provide teaching. The Medical Council is very strict, and so are all your contracts about having 2 hours of protected teaching time in your first and second years. And so we provide that as separate teaching, and that's what the educational supervisors organise and coordinate. But also within your departments, there are also other teaching sessions that you can attend that are sometimes more tailored towards the registrars, but you can see them there. But certainly specific teaching for PGY 1s and 2s are coordinated by the educational supervisors for you guys to attend. So the thing that you're most wanting to hear about is what the job actually looks like. So Taylor and Aidan, who's going
Yeah.
first?
So I guess I'll start. So I think for me, something that was really important was work-life balance when I was picking which hospitals to apply for. And so I'm really, really grateful that I ended up here. So pretty much normally get to the gym in the morning 3 times a week before work. So there is time to do stuff like that, or I walk my dog before getting to work. Shifts are probably similar to everywhere else in the country, but generally start between 7:30, 8-ish. Tend to finish between 4 to 5, depending on kind of how busy the day is. And then you have a long day, I guess, every couple of weeks. Yeah, I don't know what else you guys want to know. Aidan, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess the one thing to point out, I suppose, is that if you do come to Wellington, you don't start in Masterton. So your first at least 1 or 2 runs will be sort of with consultants and registrars on the team. So when you first start in that first quarter, you'll be very well supported, whichever run you do, which is often the thing that terrifies people when they start as a doctor. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that unlike me and other sort of smaller hospitals around the country, in the Wellington region, you'll start with a sort of full team of consultants and registrars. And so for me, I've done mostly medical runs. I've only done 1 surgical run, so I won't be able to answer any surgical questions. But generally, I think the medical runs would probably be similar to other places around the country. You have your ward rounds, you've got the ward jobs, and there's a lot of interaction with MDT. So your social workers, physios, occupational therapists, and other services. Yeah, and then I guess in terms of why it's good to be here is that you have that range of different experience. Like that's already been mentioned. You've got the tertiary centre like Wellington all the way down to a rural place like Masterton, where you get to be more independent and have a lot more hands-on experience with patients.
And it's so nice. Like what my experience over the last couple of all of my runs actually is that all of the registrars and the bosses are so nice. I haven't come across anyone where I've been like, oh, that was really mean, or why did you say that? Like, that's so not how it is. Everyone's super supportive and really advocate you, especially after hours and when you start night shift. Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say was Were either of you allocated a community-based attachment? And if so, how different was it from working within the main hospitals?
I'm currently in a community-based attachment at Hutt. I'm doing the community geriatrics run. It's very different from being on the wards. So, you know, my days are very variable, but a lot of it will be things like home visits, outpatient clinics, and sort of a lot of MDT type meetings where we go out to rest homes, things like that. So you have the opportunity, whether you do things like the GP runs public health, community psychiatry, community geriatrics, to have definitely a different change of pace and a different perspective on medicine, which is really rewarding.
I'm sorry, I'm really conscious of the time and that you guys will have questions. That was Chris Mould on the phone. She can't attend. She just wanted me to let you know that in the PGY1, you can do O&G in the last two halves, which mean 2 quarters, which means that you can do your PG diploma of O&G in your first year if you are so organised, but also don't if you don't feel you need to. And also we are pretty much the only hospital system that offers anaesthetics as a house officer run in PGY2, which is very popular. Can I just say that if you want a job in Wellington Hospital next year, the best thing that you can do to help yourself is to go onto our Survey Monkey and fill that in, and then we will ring you, and you'll be rung by one of our educational supervisors, and one of Marianne or myself, or one of the others. And we go through a lot of questions and everything, but it's really your opportunity to talk to us about you and why you want to come here, because you know there's lots of reasons why you want to come here. And if one of them is that you will get the most support in your first year as a house officer here in Wellington, then we want to give that to you, because being a first year house surgeon is difficult, and we want you to have the most support that you can. So it is really important to us that if all your support network is in Wellington, then we want to be able to move you up and down the ACE ranking so that you can get a job in Wellington. And all of the other reasons that you might want to come to Wellington and everything, we don't know that from ACE. We only know that if we talk to you on the phone. So if you can please log into the Survey Monkey and register your interest, we will talk to you personally. And we've got 2 minutes for questions. We're about to be knocked off. Good. Next question, next slide. Oh, that's how to get a job here. Expression of interest. Do that.
Cool. Is there any questions? Do we want to see if there's any questions?
How do we get back to the questions?
Let's go back to Beth.
Hi, are you done with the presentation?
I think so, yeah. We've got like 1 minute for questions now.
Okay. Question. Okay. First question, if you will be overseas during the interview period, is there another alternative to do the interview earlier?
If you fill in the survey now, and because we're looking at the survey all the time, and you say that you're away, then you know Chris can call you tomorrow if that's what you want. Yep.
Okay. Second question, with the phone interview, will we get some warning before you call? Just want to make sure that I will definitely be available and free at that time.
Yeah. We generally send out text messages or emails a couple of days before and say, you know, ask when you're free and things as well, and book a time with you.
Okay. I just want to ask as well, on behalf of the applicant, do you have a cutoff as to the number of applicants you will be interviewing?
No. We will interview, if you register your interest, we will interview you.
Okay. Next question would be, are references for CVs separate to ACE?
No, it's all through ACE. We don't see them. We care about them, but we don't see them.
Yeah. No, we do. They're already done.
They're very important, but we don't see them. We just, ACE can organise it. ACE will answer that for you. Yeah.
Hi there. Sorry, the Survey Monkey link doesn't work. Is this the same as the one on the ACE website currently? I don't think it's the same, right? It's a
If
separate.
it's on the ACE website, do that one. If the ACE website one works, then do that one. I think the one on the, I haven't checked the one on this presentation. It might not be the right one.
Oh, no, there is only one. Contact the RMO unit, RMO_recruitment@ccdhb.org.nz, and we will send you the link.
And we'll make sure ACE have the correct one.
Okay. What is the parking like at the 3 regions?
It's free at Kiripuru. It's free at Kiripuru and Wairarapa. It's amazing.
Yeah. The hut is got intermittent parking before 8 o'clock, but you do have to pay for it. Wellington.
Wellington's not great. I'm going to be honest with you. They're really encouraging. I mean, it's good for the environment to cycle and do those things. So they're really pushing for, finding cleaner, greener, alternative ways to work. The parking's bad. After hours at night shift and stuff, it's fine because that's a safety issue, right? You don't want to be coming in at 11 o'clock at night or 10:30 at night and walking for 2 blocks in the dark. So you can park in the hospital at night shift and stuff to be safe. And if you're concerned at any time, our orderlies will walk you to your car.
But there is good bus service to Wellington Hospital. Yeah.
What is MedUp?
Oh, MedApp. Or how long have you got? We don't have long, do we? MedApp is an application on your phone where we are trying to coordinate all our teaching resources, all our orientation for different run resources. We also use it to check into things so that we can make sure that people are, that we're providing enough teaching and getting people free for teaching by sort of logging in your attendance to things so that we can do a better job in that race. If you want to be involved in MedUp, you let me know as soon as you arrive in Wellington and I will sign you up to a development program.
Okay. Is there any accommodation available through the hospital when working in the Wairarapa?
I can answer that one. Yes, the hospital gives you a sort of flat to stay in. I didn't pay anything for it. I stayed in a very modern place in Solway, and so all of us, we are flatmates with the other PGY2s or whoever working with us.
Do you get to choose who you live with, Aidan, or do you?
You can say that I know this person or whatever, and they can try to facilitate being in the same flat. So yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay. Next question: can we receive the sets of runs they aren't in the handbook?
The set of the modules. Do you mean the 4 modules? We can.
It's in the handbook.
It should be in the handbook. We'll check and make sure.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a contact email that we can ask for any additional questions?
Yes, there absolutely is, and that is the RMO_recruitment@ccdhb.org.nz, and absolutely we'll get back to you.
Or maybe I can suggest if they would like to know more about the details of the contact and the contact person, maybe they can visit the website, right? Your website, hospital website.
Yes, absolutely.
Our hospital website's a bit clunky. I would just email Pauline.
Do that.
I'll give you a cell phone number.
Actually, all of our contact details are in the handbook, and all of our recruitment advisor names are in there as well. So absolutely go to that, or give me a call or give me an email. An email's best.
Or if they can get through you, they can always email ACE RMO and I'll provide them how to contact you.
Yes.
Okay. Can we preference certain hospitals or will we be placed at all?
Yeah, Taylor and Aidan can probably answer that, but we do try and, you can choose. So that in the modules that you'll see that most of them will be at hut or all of them will be at hut. And if you rank them 1, 2, and 3, then you'll probably want someone who wants to be at the hut. Working at all hospitals, I would say that it's amazing working at all 5 of them. So why would you want to just work at one? But you can choose. Is that correct, Aidan and Taylor? You sort of get a bit.
You can certainly try to do those sort of one-to-one swaps, and you can often say if you particularly need to be in a certain place, I think you can try and ask. But I think like Alice said, I think it's actually a benefit to be going across to all hospitals, and each one I've been in, I really enjoy my time, and you get something out. Each one you get something different out of it. So it's very worthwhile going to all the different places.
But if you're a family, if you've got a family and you all live in the hut, and then we're probably going to be just fine about you just working. We try.
I have registered my interest for the phone interview a few weeks ago. I was wondering roughly when I'd hear back regarding the phone call.
We're trying to sort of do them in a batch, and so we are hoping that heaps of you would apply after this webinar, and we will start doing them in the next couple of weeks. So, and we've got I don't know about you personally, who answered the question, but we do have a few who have registered already, and we do like your enthusiasm. But if the rest of you could also register, then we can get onto that and do them as a big block, because it's just we get into the flow of it, and put some time aside and have a good evening talking to you guys.
I'm overseas on my elective, then for a break until the start of July. I've filled in the interview survey, but didn't see anywhere to give this information. How can I organize to do the phone interview while I'm overseas?
Good question. Can you email
email the RMO recruitment email address, and Sid will pass it on to
It's hiding there.
Jesus.
They can leave their phone number, OC's phone number. Chris will contact them.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing. It's just it'll be a timing thing depending on trying to arrange that. But none of us sleep, so that's fine. Isn't that right, Alice?
Chris
It's because we have children, not because of the
yes,
job.
because we have children. Yeah,
the job's amazing. You should come here.
What was that?
Chris is always available, even on WhatsApp. They can contact on WhatsApp as well.
we can make it work overseas.
Yeah.
It'll just be about the logistics of timing.
We will feel incredibly jealous if you're calling us from a beach, though.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Is there a cutoff date to sign up for the interview?
If ACE is closed, then it's sort of too late. We are meeting on the 25th of July to go through all the ACE things. When's the ACE cutoff? ACE?
The intake closes on July 7.
So probably by then
Yeah.
we're meeting on the 24th or 25th, so it's definitely too late after that. But
From memory, it's the 15th of July.
Okay. How easy or difficult is it to apply for a leave when required?
My suggestion is that you get in early. There are, when you start, we have a list of the RMO roster coordinators, and basically if you're allocated in one quarter, then the roster coordinator are responsible for your placement. Let's say you started Q1 with surgery and you wanted annual leave that quarter, then when you're given your allocation notice, it will actually specify who that roster coordinator is. So your leave would go to that person. If you're applying for leave in a different quarter, a different service altogether, for example, medicine, then your leave request would be to that roster coordinator. All right?
All right. Okay, so there's no more question. I'd like to ask our RMOs if they could still have some last words or tips, advice that they could give our attendees as they go along with our ACE, their ACE application.
Yeah, I think you just have to prioritize where you want to be and where you're going to be supported, and the hospital or the workplace that's going to be best for you long term. I really love working in Wellington and I want to stay here for my registrar years. It's perfect for all the things I like to do outside of work, and everyone is just so lovely in the hospital. So wherever you guys end up, it'll be awesome, but come work with us.
I'd say that, most people will be either deciding where they want to live or the best hospital for them for their career. And I think either of those two options, I think Wellington's the best choice for that. In terms of doing your ACE applications, don't try to play the system. If you want to come to Wellington, just put it as your first preference, and it'd be way better than trying to game it. So, but yes, definitely Wellington's a great place. So definitely come over.
Okay, and from our employers.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. We hope that you'll fill in our survey, and we hope we'll see you starting here next year. Thank you, Aidan and Taylor. You've brought quality to our webinar for these interns. So thank you very much.
Sorry, Chris Mowat is there, but she can't be on our side of things. She says that we're going to start the interviews soon. We normally do about 150. The person who's overseas, if you're on WhatsApp, we can find you, or we could see you before or after your elective. The cutoff date seems to be the 1st of July. Apply for leave as soon as possible, but there are enough there are enough relievers, but you know, with COVID and everything and everyone's sick, sometimes it is difficult. So apply for leave as soon as you can. Her tips for ACE is to fill in every single thing on the ACE form. And we're usually quite popular. So if you want a job here, an interview will help you to get the job here.
Yes. All good. And from the ACE perspective, I would like to advise our attendees to keep an eye on our ACE RMO website, specifically for the key dates. We have uploaded the timelines there, so that would be for their reference. And then, of course, I would like to thank the panelists, our RMOs, for sharing your thoughts, your experiences, and for our employers for giving ACE RMO the full support in this webinar. And I would like also to say good luck to all our attendees in their ACE RMO application. So that's it. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
And see you.
Thanks, Beth.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Bye.
Aidan. Thanks,
Bye.
Taylor.
Thanks, Taylor. Get better soon.